Welcome back to the channel. Today I have another free plugin to show you from Slate Digital called Fresh Air. If you want to download it for free, simply use my link at the top of the description box. There will be lots of audio examples in this video so that you can judge it for yourself, but for the sake of transparency, Slate Digital are supporting this video, but of course all the opinions expressed are entirely my own and there's no script or anything like that. So let's jump right in. So this is Fresh Air by Slate Digital. It's a rather simple looking plugin, but there's quite a lot of complex stuff going on behind the scenes. It's also quite a pretty and intuitive plugin to use. There's not a whole lot going on the interface. First things first, you can open this in Windows and Mac, so it should work on any system in any DAW. And there's a few main controls that I need to explain just before we get into the audio demos. So there's mid-air, which is this dial here from 0 to 100, and also high air. Mid and high are both designed to add presence, clarity, and brightness to either your mix or individual tracks, but high air is working on the sort of extreme high end, whereas mid air is working on the mid and high range. I'm going to get straight into that audio demo, and I'm going to be using this power button to bypass the plugin. So let's take a listen. It's always tricky knowing how the audio demos will translate onto YouTube where you're watching, but at least in these headphones, I'm hearing that mid-air is adding a whole lot of presence, and it's really bringing the cello and some of the atmospheres through the track a little bit more, bringing them into focus. And the high air is sort of just accentuating all of that top end, but it's not really bringing up a load of transients just like a high EQ boost would do. I hope you can appreciate that this, while there's certainly some sort of tonal EQ boost going on, it does sound very different to simply an EQ boost. Let's get another example going. So I'll just turn the volume down a little bit. Now you may have noticed when I was turning them individually, but you can press this link button, which connects both the mid and high together. Let's take a listen. That's really helping me to sort of reimagine what this track would sound like if I'd gone in a more clear direction, sort of pulled up all of that hiss and tape noise, and also accentuated the top end of the guitar a little bit more. When I was mixing this, I was going in a more bass-heavy direction, a very smooth direction, which I like, but this has very quickly just let me hear what it would sound like in a different direction. What I'd probably do is unlink and then turn the high air down a little bit, and then I can link them again, and they will maintain these two positions as I adjust, because I want a little bit more of the mid presence, but on this track I don't want too much of that top end boost. Let's take another listen. You may also have noticed this digital VU meter with a blue dot and a red line. The red line is the peak value of the signal, the blue dot is the RMS value. This plugin, Fresh Air, it adds gain as you increase the mid-air and high air, along with other things. So you'll need to use this trim control in the bottom right-hand corner just to sort of gain match before and after, so that as you bypass, you're hearing them at the same level. Let's hear a few more examples. There's presets available from this drop-down menu here. If I left-click, there's a whole load of factory banks and you can save your own. I tend to, with these sorts of plugins, like just dialing the tone in myself, but these presets might be a good place to start. So let's go for Mix Bus Polish. Let's take a listen. So this is quite an obvious difference, and if I was applying something to a whole mix, potentially in the mastering stage, I honestly don't think that you need to add more than 10-20% of this plugin to really get quite a noticeable difference. However, for a creative effect, if you want to, you can crank them both up to 100. So I suppose if you were doing maybe sound design, maybe you were working on synth patches or something, maybe super saws or something, there might be a time when you really want to sort of crank this effect up and just see where it takes you. I'm going to show you a few more features whilst we listen to this beautiful piano. What I wanted to show you was this A and B copy state. So you can have two different states for the plugin, which you can access just by clicking A and B. So in one of them, I want to push the mid-air quite a lot. Something like that. And then I'm going to go to state B, which you can see resets the plugin. And on this state, I'm going to push the high air a little bit more. And now I can just compare both and see which one I prefer. I'm going to take the trim down as well. And in this particular case, I much prefer state A with a lot more of the mid-air, the sort of high mid presence, instead of the extreme high end. Now, from what I hear, at least with my ears, is that the mid-air is sort of acting from about 3,000 to 4,000 hertz and up, but it's quite gentle as it goes to the top end, whereas the high air sounds like it starts around 8 or 9K and then goes all the way up to the very top, and it really is acting on that extreme high end, trying to get you a lot of that sort of brilliance and brightness out of a mix. But what I've heard on the mixes I put it on is that because it's a dynamics processing plugin, it's not just an EQ boost, it seems to control that high end. So it's doing certainly combinations of compression and EQ, which means that although it's boosting, it's not just bringing up the transients and making it extremely brittle and tinny. Let's take another listen on a different track. This is very electronic, and I want you to hear how the mid-air really pulls a lot of clarity out of some of the synth parts, which tend to fall back in the mix a little bit. So it might help you reimagine how this mix would sound with a sort of different balance. Let's take a listen. So it really sort of pulls everything that was hiding underneath and really sort of pulls it into focus. This might not be what you want, but it certainly lets me imagine what this could sound like with a completely different approach to the mixing. Let's take a listen to some guitar now, and you'll hear how it pulls up the clarity in the top end. The final thing I wanted to show you is that, of course, these dials can be automated, because in this song, for instance, I want there to be quite a lot of presence boost in the verses, but the chorus needs almost no boost at all. It's actually really good. So let's take a listen to the verses. I feel that these could really benefit from a little bit of brightening up, just like this. But if I jump ahead to the chorus, and I'll fade this in so it's not too extreme. I don't really want to change anything there necessarily, so what I can do is just, of course, automate this here. So taking a quick look at this automation clip, you can see that in the verses I have it at, say, 42%, and then maybe in the chorus I take it down to something a little bit lower because it didn't need so much brightening up. I know I said that would be the final thing, but everyone always asks me about CPU utilization on plugins, especially free plugins, and I want to say this one seems absolutely fine. On my system, when I loaded 5 of them, turned the dials around, the 5 together increased my CPU utilization by 3%, which on my system is absolutely fine. I have many EQs and compressors that each use 1 or 2% or more each for just one instance. So this plugin seems like it's absolutely fine as far as CPU is concerned on my system. And do remember that whenever you're setting any sort of effect that alters the tonal balance of a track, definitely give yourself a few minutes to get some fresh ears. So make the changes and then take a little bit of a break and come back to it, because often at the end of a production, we can make big changes in EQ and we think they sound better just because they sound different. So it's good to add a bit of this and then take a break. And come back, listen to your reference tracks and see if this really helped you get into the ballpark of that sort of more professional sound you were looking for. So I think that it's really good to reveal where your mix or master might be lacking, and you can also go back and fix those problems individually. But it's also quite nice to just add a whole lot of flavor using this plugin to a mix or a master. It can really take things in an entirely different direction. So that's it for this video, but I do hope you enjoyed all of those audio examples. I hope you go and grab your copy of Fresh Air for free using my link at the top of the description box. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video too. Bye for now.